according to Schiller's view, this whole crisis was more because of what? Greed. What was the reason? What he has given a very interesting explanation. Remember, there was a tech bubble. In when was the tech bubble? 2000. Yeah, the Nasdaq was taking off like anything, and then it crashed. So his explanation was interesting, that what he's saying, that people had got used to the idea of getting rich without hard work. American economy before was based on what? Hard work. That you want to get rich, how to get rich? Through hard work. But because of these bubbles, stock market bubbles, people had got used to the idea of getting rich without hard work. Bubbles are going up. Even as a matter of fact, India too. Right? In India you have experienced bubbles. Yes, you know, like during, even in when like the Sensex had gone shot up to the
21,000.
yeah. So those were like, you know, kind of bubbles. So even in India, you know, if you find all of, maybe you, any of you own shares?
Lots.
Sir, everyone owns.
So you now see, it has become kind of a habit, gambling habit, you know, getting rich without.
Yeah, right.
Before what was it? Before our parents' generation, what was it? You know, they were not very much used to the stock market and all. My dad was given SBI shares. My dad used to work in SBI, so he was given these shares of State Bank of India. And at one point of time, that was during Harshad Mehta crash, the shares of SBI had shot up like, I don't know, like super, like, you know, unimaginable. It was gone up. And then somebody told him, sell those shares. That was kind of the only time he had dealt with the stock market. And actually the stock market was not that well developed, and people were not that much into the stock market before that. They were more into fixed deposit, public provident funds and so on. But right now you see the younger generation, when I see my friends and everything trading online and, you know, doing all, what is the reason for that? They are getting used to this equity culture. This equity culture is coming in and they are getting used to this equity culture. But this, what according to Schiller, because of this Nasdaq bubble, things have gone up so much, many people actually, many professors and everything left their jobs. They're saying, look, I'm a super stock market genius, I've made so much money. And then there were many, I've heard of some cases of suicide and so on, you know, because the things started coming in, people had lost it, you know, how can it burst? But anyway, people had got used to this idea of getting rich without working hard. And this greed, when that stock market fell, has to transform into some other asset. Where did it go? Where did that greed take over? The housing market. The housing bubbles. So that was his basic, you know, idea of this whole, this greed behind this crisis. Anyway, now, so that is how basically this crisis happened. Now, how did India, or how much did India get affected by the crisis? Did India get affected by the crisis? If so, how much? Not in the amount terms, how? In what? How? Like, what were the effects of the crisis on India?
Banks are bankrupt, so trade stopped between all the states.
So business term.
So in many cases like this, banks.
So number one was banks. What happened to banks? Go ahead. They're all what? Banks?
So banks in US, they were bankrupt, right? So the trade between India and US was very low. Like banks were not ready to open LCs and all.
Okay, that is one channel. You.
So if for the dollar price, the FIIs pulled out money from.
Very good. So FIIs started pulling out money, right? Why did the FIIs start pulling out money?
They need to.
They needed the money and they wanted to put the money in more safe instrument like treasury bills and so on. And FIIs are a big part of the Indian markets, and that started fresh. By the way, this is a very simple question, but I hope everybody should be able to answer this. FDI versus FII. What is the difference?
So
FII don't have any obligations.
FDI is more real investments.
Yes.
They need to keep money and invest
Right.
in the
Setting
government.
up
It's more plant, machinery and so on. FII is what? Equity investments or stock or bond or securities investments. So they are much more volatile and so on. So that was what had happened. So number one channel was that. What else happened?
So in many cases, this, like, even if you consider the FDI, so if an American investor is investing into India, so suddenly he will be taking help of any of this US bank.
Right.
Now with the bankrupt, with this bank going bankrupt, so those money got
right.
like blocked and
Very
the
good.
investment.
Very good. That is also a channel of this thing. Good. What else?
So
What
dollar,
about
so dollar got
the dollar?
INR got depreciated.
Okay, that got it. What else? Because if I started pulling out money, what else?
Employment in India.
Well, trade and services got hit, exports got hit, right? Because the world demand started slumping down, exports got hit, all of that happened. What else? Those services started getting hit.
Supply of money.
Money supply. So government had to create some kind of a stimulus. Yeah, that came later on. But what else got hit? When Lehman Brothers collapsed, how did the markets react? Of course, stock markets fell, but there was another market. I think I discussed this. But call money rates. Call money rates at that time. What happened to the call money rates? They shot up. What is the call money rate? Interbank. So that was another dislike. Now, how did banks in India, commercial banks in India, get hit? Because it was mostly a banking crisis. Yeah. So how did Indian banks get hit? Do you think it got hit very hard?
No.
Indian banking was not very affected. There was an overall recession slump, but Indian banking did not get hit.
So
by the way,
why did the call money rate shot up? Why did the call money rate shot up?
One reason for that is call money rates is interbank borrowing and lending. And people, banks were not ready to lend to other banks. Who knows what investments they have? That was one reason, but there were other reasons also. So that's a good question actually. Why did the call money rate shoot up? And there's going on research into this. So there are many reasons into this. Too much. Okay. Now what is the current situation? How are banks doing? How did HDFC Bank? Have you taken a look? HDFC Bank
reported 34%.
shot up. Yeah, the income started. So it seems that things are improving right now. And actually, we India did a very good job of controlling the banking system, of regulating the banking system. People were like, why are you not letting banks free? There's so much of government controls. Why are you not letting banks take that risk? So why is there so much rigid controls and everything on banks? It paid off right now. So you have to be quite cautious about this. The free market economy is mostly the correct path, but you should be cautious on this. So there should be regulations, especially on the derivatives market. There should be regulations. Banking, there should be very strong regulations. These are all my views, and so on.